Hi everyone, it's Brian here and I'm back again, this time with a VR, a long-awaited VR, to Dead Cheeky, and this is a VR to her brilliant Myers-Briggs Tarot hashtag. And I've wanted to do this for ages because it's just such a fascinating hashtag, and I'm really pleased that it's been put together because for a while now I've been wanting to do a video on personality types and tarot, so this is just the perfect opportunity. I'll link her original video below, and on that video and on the page that her video is on, she provides quite a lot of useful information about the background to Myers-Briggs and so on, so I won't go into too much detail here. But basically the purpose of the hashtag is do the personality test if you haven't already. The test that she provides is a kind of an online test which gives a reasonably good indication of what your Myers-Briggs personality type will be. But if you can do the proper Myers-Briggs personality type, and many of you probably will have done it maybe through a training course you did at work or something, then it's better to do that if you can, because that's likely to give you a more accurate result. Because I certainly find that when I do that personality test online, depending on my mood, I can either come out as introverted or extroverted, which is one of the functions in the personality type tag. You know, sometimes it's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty good. So if that's all you have access to, then that's absolutely fine. And then what you do is you look at, again, the chart that she's provided and see which of the tarot court cards relates to that personality type, because there are 16 different personality types in Myers-Briggs, and of course there are 16 court cards, and it's possible to allocate each type to a different court card. And the purpose of this is to have a look at it and see if you think the court card that you've been allocated based on your personality type is accurate. And what she's also asking us to do is to consider whether there's another court card that we feel more instinctively we are represented by, and also to compare whichever level we're at, whether if you're a king, then you compare yourself, the one that you're allocated, with the other kings, or if you're a queen, you compare with the other queens and so on, just to see what you can glean from that. So it's a fascinating challenge or tag, and so that's what we're going to do. Probably it's worth saying as well that I'm very aware that for some people the idea of personality types is just really almost abhorrent. I know people who get really incensed at the very idea that they could be allocated to one of 16 personality types. But I do think that that's kind of missing the point, because that assumes that the personality types are like boxes that you're being fitted into, and that's not what it's about at all. These are broad personality types that are broad indications of patterns of personality. And in my experience, I've used Myers-Briggs in my workplace. I've had my own Myers-Briggs done, and I've worked with my management team recently, went through a Myers-Briggs process, which was interesting and quite revealing actually in terms of our different dynamics and how we work together. So I think there's a lot of value in it, as long as you don't fall into the trap of thinking that once you've got your Myers-Briggs types, that is just describing you to a T, because of course you are a human being, and you know, not everyone within each of the personality types is identical. We all have our own individual unique personality traits. So these are just indications, but it's interesting to do. So just by way of introduction, there are 4 different dimensions in Myers-Briggs, and you're given a letter depending on which end of the dimension you fall into. And the dimensions are as follows. You can either be extroverted or introverted, so that's E or I. That's the first letter in your 4-letter personality type, and that describes how a person gets energized. You can be S or N, and that's either sensing or intuition. I know intuition doesn't begin with N, but because introverted does, they're giving intuition the letter N here, and that describes how a person takes in information. That's the second letter you get. The third letter you'll get is either T or F, and that describes the means that a person uses to make decisions. So do you do it through your head or your heart, effectively? And then the last one is J or P, and that's judging or perceiving, and that describes the speed with which a person makes decisions. So do you do it like, you know, make a decision based as soon as you get the information, or do you spend time cogitating? Now, when I do this, when I do the personality type, the simpler one that's online, I usually come out as my accurate type that has also been assessed by the Myers-Briggs personality indicator, and in my case that's Infj, which I happen to believe, I have been told, is the rarest of the personality types. So I am definitely sticking to Infj, because why wouldn't I? It's the rarest. How special am I? That's probably not a very INFJ attitude to take. But occasionally I'll come out, depending on my mood, I'll come out as ENFJ. So the difference for me is, am I introverted or extroverted? And this is kind of interesting for me, and I'll talk about this when we come onto the cards, because I definitely think of myself as an introvert. So I definitely regain my energy by being alone. So that's really what introversion or extroversion means. It's not whether you're shy or not. It's to do with how you regenerate your energy. And I definitely regenerate my energy through solitude. That doesn't mean that I always want to be alone. It doesn't mean that I don't get energy from being sociable occasionally, often actually. But generally I have introverted traits. However, in my life, in my work life, and actually in my social life as well, I have, to some extent, I've trained myself to be extroverted because I've had to be because of the job that I have, and also because, I don't want to be a loner. I want to have a good social life and have friends and all that kind of stuff. And so I've trained myself to be quite extroverted when I need to be. But really I can only do the extrovert thing when I am feeling already very stable and secure and replenished. And I don't do so well if I'm feeling fragile or tired or stressed or harassed. Then I'm not so good at doing the kind of, I can't pretend to be extroverted when I'm not really extroverted. And what's interesting is when I did the Myers-Briggs full test, what that showed is that I am on the introverted end of or the introverted side of the scale, but I'm very close to the middle, which means that I'm not very introverted, I'm a bit introverted. And that helps explain why I'm able to become extroverted when I need to be. But the other indicators, the I and the N and the N and the F and the J, are pretty stable for me. So I'm usually INFJ, occasionally ENFJ. Now, in terms of what that means, let me just tell you a little bit about what it means based on the information that Dead Cheeky has provided. So if I am INFJ, then I am the advocate. And it says here, I told you, the INFJ personality type is very rare, making up less than 1% of the population, but they nonetheless leave their mark on the world. As diplomats, they have an inborn sense of idealism and morality, but what sets them apart is the accompanying judging trait. INFJs are not idle dreamers, but people capable of taking concrete steps to realise their goals and make a lasting positive impact. INFJs tend to see helping others as their purpose in life, but while people with this personality type can be found engaging rescue efforts and doing charity work, which I do, their real passion is to get to the heart of the issue so that people need not be rescued at all. Now that, to me, I'm getting chilled, because that just describes exactly how I feel about myself. So that's the INFJ. ENFJ, I'll read the summary here. Oh, and this has got a little quote at the beginning. Everything you do right now ripples outward and affects everyone. Your posture can shine your heart or transmit anxiety. Your breath can radiate love or muddy the room in depression. Your glance can awaken joy. Your words can inspire freedom. Your every act can open hearts and minds. And the ENFJ personality type is called the protagonist. ENFJs are natural born leaders, full of passion and charisma. Forming around 2% of the population, they are oftentimes our politicians, our coaches and our teachers, reaching out and inspiring others to achieve and to do good in the world. With a natural confidence that begets influence, ENFJs take a great deal of pride and joy in guiding others to work together to improve themselves and their community. Now that also sounds quite like me in terms of how I think of myself, but And I am in a leadership role. I'm in more than one leadership role, and actually I've kind of moved into leadership roles in every organisation I've worked in and for. And I haven't really done it through drive and ambition that I'm particularly aware of. It's just that I've found myself gravitating towards that kind of activity. So I can definitely see that I sit between this idea of, I'm sorry, I'm looking outside because I'm just waiting in case my other half gets home. Not that I'm bothered about him getting home, but I'm conscious that when he gets home, he'll open the door and I'll have to stop, and then, I'm trying to not get distracted. But I'm distracting myself by trying to not get distracted. So, what does that say about my personality? So, so I think I sit between INFJ and ENFJ. And in terms of the tarot court cards, what does that mean? Where does that put me? So, okay, if I was ENFJ, which I occasionally feel that I am, I am the King of Cups. The King of Cups is the Enfj. Warm, empathetic, responsive and responsible, highly attuned to the emotions, needs and motivations of others, find potential in everyone, want to help others fulfill their potential, may act as catalysts for individual and group growth, loyal, responsive to praise and criticism, sociable, facilitate others in a group and provide inspiring leadership. So that's the leadership side of things. I can see some of that. But if I am INFJ, I'm emphasising the wrong letter, INFJ, which I usually am, and that is my true personality type, I believe, based on Myers-Briggs, then I am actually the Queen of Cups. And what it says about the Queen of Cups is seek meaning and connection in ideas, relationships and material possessions. Want to understand what motivates people and are insightful about others. Conscientious and committed to their firm values. Develop a clear vision about how best to serve the common good. Organised and decisive and in implementing their vision. And again, to me that does ring true. Very definitely does ring true. So the other differentiation I found is obviously I'm intuitive in the second one. So I found a comparison between intuitive extrovert, so EN, and intuitive introvert, IN. And this description for me really kind of grounds me as INFJ. So the intuitive extrovert, which would be EN and then FJ, corresponds to the typical adventurer. Intuitive extroverts are very active and restless. They need a lot of stimuli all of the time. They are tenacious when it comes to achieving their objectives, and once they do, they go right on to the next goal, quickly forgetting the previous one. That's fairly true. They don't care much about the well-being of those around them. That's not true at all. Caring about the well-being of other people is one of the things that absolutely drives me in life. So that doesn't chime with me. Then intuitive introvert. These people are extremely sensitive to the most subtle stimuli. Intuitive introverts correspond to the type of people who can almost guess what others are thinking, feeling or willing to do. Yeah, that's pretty true. They're imaginative dreamers and idealists. They struggle with keeping their feet on the ground. And that is kind of true, and that's that chimes actually, because if I then think about the other court cards and comparing myself, if let's just say that I'm plumping for being the Queen of Cups, I'm happy with that. INFJ, Queen of Cups. If I compare myself to the Queen of Pentacles, I love the Queen of Pentacles, but Pentacles are earthy, they're practical, they're pragmatic. The Pentacles are the DIY guys, the get your accounts done on time guys, the go out and dig your garden and grow lots of lovely plants guys. That's not me at all. I would love to be like that, but one, it doesn't energize me to be doing practical things like that, and I'm not very good at it. So I'm not good at kind of practical things, DIY and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not good at gardening. I'd love to be, but I'm not. So I don't see myself as being Pentacles. And Swords, well, Swords, the Queen of Swords is that kind of incisive, clear thinking. Now I can be like that. I've trained myself to be like that, but I'm not necessarily always driven by rationality. So if I had to pick another queen to be, if I were doing the extroverted thing and I wanted to be another EN something or other, I would be the King of Wands. I've often felt an affinity for the King of Wands. So let's just see what the King of Wands is in this Myers-Briggs family. Bear with me. So the King of Wands is... let me find it. King of Wands, ESFJ. Warm-hearted, conscientious and cooperative. Want harmony in their environment. Work with determination to establish it. Like to work with others to complete tasks accurately and on time. Loyal. Follow through even in small matters. Notice what others need in their day-to-day lives and try to provide it. Want to be appreciated for who they are and what they contribute. Now that actually is quite close to me. So what did I say that was? ESFJ. So the ESFJ would be the consul. Caring, social and popular people ready to help. But the other court card that would chime with me, actually even more so, if I couldn't be the Queen of Cups or the King of Cups, then, and I certainly wouldn't be the Pentacles or the Swords, then I would go for the Queen of Wands. And look, you know why I have to be the Queen of Wands if I am not the Queen of Cups? It's because, look, Maya is there. Maya is sitting at the feet of the Queen of Wands. So, Queen of Wands it would have to be, and these cards, by the way, are from the Albano Weight. So the Queen of Wands, ISFJ, quiet, friendly, responsible and conscientious, committed and, oh dear, I can't quite read that, and something in meeting their obligations. Thorough, painstaking, accurate, considerate, notice and remember specifics about people who are important to them, concerned with how others feel, strive to create orderly and harmonious environment at work and at home. Some of that is true to an extent. And that's, did I say that was ISFJ? So that's the defender. Dedicated and warm protectors, always ready to defend their loved ones. So I definitely feel that I could be the Queen of Wands if I'm in my introverted space, but I'm more likely to be the Queen of Cups. And if I'm feeling extroverted, then I can move into King of Cups. But basically, that's me. Now, what's really interesting about this is I was reflecting on this and, you know, thinking that sometimes my outer self has to be King of Cups and my inner self really is Queen of Cups. And that reminded me about what I discovered when I added my birth time to my calculation to get my life path card in the tarot. So you know the thing where you take your day of birth, your month of birth and your year of birth and you add them up numerologically and you get to a number in the major arcana, and when I do that I get the Chariot. And the Chariot, that kind of outward focused leadership, moving forward, responsibility thing, I see a little bit of a connection there with, that's the outer me. When I had my birth time in, the Chariot, sorry, I'm getting confused here, the Chariot becomes the Hermit. It's almost like I peel away the onion of the Chariot and I get to the Hermit. And perhaps that's a bit like peeling away the onion of the King of Cups and getting the Queen of Cups. So that has been my VR to Dead Cheeky, and I've found it absolutely fascinating, and I'm going to do some more reading and researching on this. And actually you've reminded me, a Dead Cheeky, you have reminded me that one of the things I'd like to investigate, because I haven't seen very much material on this, is how the tarot connects to another personality type that I'm very interested in, and that is the Enneagram. And I've got lots of books on the Enneagram. This is one of the most, I thought my bookcase was going to collapse then. I saw my life flash in front of my eyes. But notice how calm I remained. That's the Queen of Cups, that is. Just calm in the face of utter terror. Wisdom of the Enneagram. I have lots of other things on the Enneagram. Lots of really interesting stuff. Spiritual dimension of the Enneagram. I've read these, or bits of them, and I need to go into them in more detail. Beginning your Enneagram journey. I'm going to have a look through these and see if they have any information on tarot. I'm not sure that they will. But I'm going to investigate this because I think if you can map the Myers-Briggs personality types. Hello Maya. Maya has come in. She thought I was saying Maya Briggs. Maya. Myers-Briggs. You coming to say hello? She's meowing at me. She's like, come on then, come and say hello. No, she's not coming to say hello. Obviously you've got to pay extra. Come on, are you working at appearance rates? Come on. Come on. Oh no. Oh no, I got the one-fingered bum salute then. So, where was I? Enneagram, yes. If you can map Myers-Briggs against the tarot, I think you can map other personality types, and I think the Enneagram would be a very interesting one to do. So I will do some thinking on that, I'll do some research on that, and hopefully I'll be back very soon and I'll be able to share some information with you on that. So thanks again, Dead Cheeky, for this marvellous tag. I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Take care. There you are, you're on the Queen of Wands. Which Myers-Briggs personality type would you be? Which one would you be? Bye.